The world of construction has arrived at a significant and unavoidable inflection point. For decades, the global cement industry has been the bedrock of urban development, but it now confronts a formidable challenge that can no longer be ignored. This challenge is what engineers are beginning to call the kiln heat wall. Making clinker, the essential binding agent in modern Portland cement, requires heating limestone and other materials to temperatures exceeding 1,450 degrees Celsius. After years of incremental gains, the industry has discovered that the fundamental physics and chemistry of this process offer no more easy efficiencies. The energy penalty is simply too high, and the associated carbon dioxide emissions are staggering. From the fuel burned, from the chemical breakdown of limestone, together they account for roughly 8% of global emissions. This problem is compounded by a second equally pressing issue: the growing scarcity of a crucial industrial byproduct. For many years, construction relied on coal fly ash, the fine particulate captured from coal plant smokestacks. Fly ash served as a cheap and effective supplementary cementitious material, able to replace part of the clinker and concrete mixes, lowering costs and reducing carbon footprints. But as the world moves away from coal to fight climate change, the fly ash supply is rapidly dwindling. Coal plant closures are turning the fly ash spigot off, leaving a major void in the concrete supply chain. The convergence of these trends, the kiln heat wall, fly ash scarcity, has created a crisis that is also an opportunity. The old way is reaching its limits. Demand rises, raw materials get harder, and emissions mount. The solution may not come from a lab, but from the raw, elemental power of the earth, in the form of volcanic ash. The most promising candidate to step into the void left by fly ash is a material that has been part of our planet's geology for eons: volcanic ash. But not just any ash will do. The key ingredient is volcanic glass. It forms when molten lava is ejected from a volcano. It cools so rapidly that atoms can't arrange into an orderly crystalline structure. This rapid quenching freezes atoms in a disordered, amorphous state, much like window glass. This non-crystalline nature is precisely what makes it so valuable. It's full of pent-up chemical potential, waiting to react. Volcanic glass is naturally rich in elements useful for cementitious binders: silicon, aluminum, often in oxide forms, silica, alumina. Unlike stable, crystalline quartz sand, which is chemically inert in concrete, the amorphous silica and alumina in volcanic glass are highly reactive. When ground into a fine powder and mixed with water and combined with other cement components, this glass actively participates in the chemical reactions that give concrete strength. It's not merely a filler or a passive aggregate. It's a dynamic ingredient that enhances the final material. Harnessing this material starts with physical preparation. Raw volcanic ash, or pumice, is excavated from vast deposits. It is crushed and milled into a fine powder. Finer grind dramatically increases surface area, making particles more accessible to reactions. More surface area means more points of contact, accelerating strength development. This mechanical grinding uses far less energy than the fiery process to make clinker, representing a major carbon-saving advantage of volcanic ash. Ultimately, volcanic glass is a natural precursor to the glue that holds concrete together. It's a pozzolan. The Romans used ash with lime, creating incredibly durable structures. To understand how volcanic glass improves concrete, we must look at the basic chemistry of how standard cement works. When ordinary Portland cement is mixed with water, it undergoes a hydration reaction. This process creates two main products. The first is calcium silicate hydrate, CSH, a gel-like substance that is the primary source of concrete's strength and durability. It is the essential glue that binds the sand and stone aggregates. However, the reaction also produces a significant amount of a second, less desirable byproduct: calcium hydroxide, CH. This compound contributes very little to strength and can be a source of weakness, as it is more soluble and susceptible to chemical attack. This is where the magic of volcanic ash comes into play. The highly reactive silica and alumina within the volcanic glass particles do not react immediately with water on their own. Instead, they wait for the calcium hydroxide to form from the initial cement hydration. Once the CH is present, the volcanic glass initiates a secondary chemical reaction known as the pozzolanic reaction, CH plus silica, CSH. The silica in the ash consumes the weak calcium hydroxide, transforming it into additional high-strength CSH. In essence, the volcanic ash takes a problematic byproduct and converts it into the most valuable component of the concrete matrix. This yields concrete that is stronger, denser, and less permeable. The new CSH gel fills microscopic pores and voids, densifying the microstructure, the key to enhanced performance and durability. Beyond avoiding clinker emissions, volcanic glass can help permanently lock away carbon. Atmospheric CO2, or CO2 intentionally injected into the fresh mix, reacts with calcium hydroxide to form stable calcium carbonate, especially effective when ash is present. The theoretical benefits of volcanic glass are compelling, but its true potential is revealed in the hard data from 2026 studies and pilot projects. The numbers demonstrate a clear and significant advantage in terms of energy, carbon, and material performance. The most straightforward application is replacing clinker. Current research confirms that high-quality, properly ground volcanic ash can replace up to 50% of ordinary Portland cement, often improving long-term strength. Each ton of clinker replaced saves approximately 0.8 to 0.9 tons of CO2. Producing 1 ton of clinker requires immense energy, thermal on the order of roughly 3.2 to 4.2 gigajoules, and substantial electricity. In contrast, preparing volcanic ash primarily involves mechanical grinding, excavation, transport, and milling to about 17 micrometers, typically total a fraction of that, about 0.3 to 0.5 gigajoules each step depending on context. Replacing 50% of the clinker can reduce binder-embodied energy by as much as 40%, and the overall energy of the final concrete by about 16%, mix-dependent. Through passive carbonation, mixes with 50% volcanic glass show refined pore structure and enhanced CO2 uptake, up to 30% more over service life versus standard mixes. With engineered mineralization, injecting captured CO2 into fresh ash-bearing concrete, nano-calcium carbonate forms as nucleation sites, further strengthening the mix while permanently sequestering carbon. Carbon avoidance from clinker replacement combines with mineralization sequestration. A cubic meter can become carbon neutral or even carbon negative, storing more CO2 than was released across manufacturing. A crucial question for any proposed industrial solution is scalability. Is there enough of the resource and can it be delivered where it is needed at a reasonable cost? For volcanic ash, the answer is a resounding yes. The Earth's geology has provided a vast and widely distributed supply, centered on the Ring of Fire, New Zealand, Southeast Asia and Japan, Alaska, the western coast of the Americas, home to 75% of the world's active and dormant volcanoes. Many of the largest, most suitable pumice and rhyolitic ash deposits are near coastlines, a major logistical advantage. Proximity to the sea allows direct loading onto bulk cargo ships, the most energy and cost-efficient way to move heavy materials over distance. This maritime network is far superior to inland rail or truck for these flows. Geological surveys to 2026 confirm massive resources in Indonesia, the Philippines, Chile, and the northwestern United States, with billions of tons of high-quality pozzolanic ash. Major eruptions deposit fresh ash. Developing processing turns a costly cleanup into valuable feedstock for reconstruction and export. Success requires testing and classifying for amorphous content, securing long-term mineral rights, investing in port-proximate grinding, and partnering with shippers as fly ash scarcity and carbon costs rise. These formations can support a global industry for centuries. The resource base is real and ready to scale. While the carbon and energy benefits of volcanic ash are the primary drivers of its adoption, a powerful secondary advantage is its ability to create significantly more durable concrete. The same pozzolanic reaction that consumes calcium hydroxide and produces extra CSH also makes concrete far more resistant to common chemical attacks that degrade structures over time. This leads to longer service lives, reduced maintenance costs, and greater safety. The durability dividend. Chloride ions from de-icing salts or seawater are the arch nemesis of reinforced concrete. They seep in, reach the steel, and trigger corrosion that cracks concrete from within. Volcanic ash densifies the matrix, making penetration harder. 50% blends have shown over 22.8% lower chloride ion permeability than equivalent OPC mixes, extending life for bridges, garages, and seawalls. In sulfate-rich soils, pozzolans help twice, by consuming CH and by slowing ingress. Field trials show over 50% less expansion and cracking than OPC after years of harsh exposure. In cold climates, reduced permeability limits water ingress, mitigating freeze-thaw damage. For high-speed rail, precise geometry is essential. Poor materials can induce frost heave and shift track beds. As the Harbin-Dalian issues cautioned, durable ash-based concrete supports the stability such systems demand. Building better is as important as building greener. Volcanic ash enables both. The transition from a clinker-dominated industry to one based on high-volume volcanic ash replacement cannot happen overnight. It requires a strategic, phased approach. Build confidence, establish supply chains, update codes and standards, a practical roadmap. Phase 1, resource and standards. Phase 2, finance and carbon. Phase 3, 100-year standard. Phase 1, 2026 to 2027, secure mineral rights to high-quality deposits, invest in grinding, certify new mixes with ASTM ACI, including 30% and 50% volcanic ash replacements, and build trust with rigorous testing. Provide engineers certified data to specify these mixes. Phase 2, 2027 to 2029, build book and claim systems, use blockchain for transparent tracking, verify and trade carbon savings, and retrofit ready-mix plants with CO2 injection to stack benefits. Sales models shift from price per yard to life cycle performance and embodied carbon. Phase 3, from 2030, codify change. High replacement blends become standard as GCCA tightens targets and public procurement requires low-carbon mixes. This cements a 100-year standard, infrastructure designed for maximum durability and minimal environmental impact, locking in benefits for generations. For city managers, for public works directors, for chief financial officers, the decision often comes down to a simple question: does it make financial sense? While environmental benefits are attractive, the business case must be solid. The argument isn't lower upfront cost, it's dramatically lower total cost of ownership over an asset's full life. Focus on long-term value instead of short-term price. The math favors durable, low-carbon mixes. Use net present value across a century-designed bridge. Standard concrete may need major rehab around 40 years, then again at 75. Each intervention is costly, not just the work itself, but traffic disruption and broader economic losses. A durable volcanic ash bridge might delay first major rehab to year 60 or 70. With a standard 3.5% discount rate, avoided maintenance NPV turns positive in about 22 years, even assuming a 5 to 10% upfront premium. Over 100 years, returns are significant. the internal rate of return on the incremental premium can reach 15%, a prudent investment. The conversation shifts from how much per yard to what is the 100-year cost to deliver this public service, aligning fiscal responsibility, sustainability, and safety. Dedicated trust funds can even capture maintenance savings to finance future needs. In summary, the evidence is clear, the path is visible. The cement industry, long a cornerstone of development and a major source of carbon emissions, stands at a crossroads. The pressures of the kiln heat wall and the disappearance of fly ash are forcing a necessary evolution. Volcanic glass offers a powerful, scalable, and economically viable way forward, not a minor adjustment, but a fundamental system change. It can transform concrete from a climate problem into a climate solution, avoid clinker emissions, and actively capture and sequester CO2 via natural and engineered mineralization. The resource is abundant, aligned with major shipping routes. Scale strategy. Phase 1, secure supply and certify mixes. Phase 2, financialize carbon and integrate new tech. Phase 3, revise codes so low-carbon concrete becomes default. This is not a distant dream. Research is done, pilots are successful, the economic case is compelling, the tools are ready. The challenge now is will and action. Engineers must specify, policymakers must prioritize long-term value and low carbon, and investors must build supply chains. The ash factor gives us a tangible way to make cities durable carbon sinks. The time for incrementalism is over. The moment to build a stronger, resilient, sustainable future is now. We must act.